Salam and salutations, Fate here bringing you another gaming commentary on an EU finals between Flat Earth and IDDQD. First game will be on Watchpoint Gibraltar, where Flat Earth will be on the offensive first, with a comp of 2 Genjis, 1 Symmetra, 2 Zenyatas, 1 Diva. Diva is the curious choice on this comp specifically. And we have IDDQD with a comp of 1 Reinhardt, a McCree, a Hanzo, a Soldier, Mercy, and Symmetra for shields, and of course her teleport. So it'll be interesting to see how Flat Earth works in a Diva in offense on this map, because the conventional choice of Reinhardt and Winston will be sorely missed, I think, in my opinion. So we see actually Diva losing her mech immediately right off the gate, now trying to fight out of her mech, which won't go that well, I think. Now against the Hanzo being healed by a Mercy, and we see her actually dying immediately. Now we see the offense losing 2 characters so far in their first push. Not actually push, because at this point they're just trying to get as much kills while waiting for their payload to actually advance first. So we see another Genji actually dying there, the other Genji actually trying to fight ahead, and we see Diva trying to push with the payload. Doesn't seem to be going well so far. Defense so far doing a good job of thwarting any attempts to actually flank their team. Now we see a Diva trying to BM somebody she probably pushed down or actually fell, now actually then losing her own mech, trying to fight out of her mech, and we know how that goes with a Diva in pilot mode, immediately getting face smacked by the defensive Reinhardt there. And we see Genji with that Harmony Orb from Zenyatta trying to push, trying to get some pickoffs there, actually getting pushed back immediately. Now the offensive now actually getting pushed back up to their spawning point. Not going so well for the offense so far. Now we see actually the Diva getting switched out for a Tracer. Interesting pick. Instead of going for another tank, they opt for another offensive character. Not a favorite right now in this meta, Tracer. And we see her immediately dying, and we also see now Genji getting swapped for a Widowmaker. Let's see if she gets any kind of picks or any bearing on this game so in few minutes. And we actually see the Mendo actually throwing his ult out, not actually hitting anything, but actually zoning the offensive team from the payload, not being able to push the payload any further now. Zenyatta trying to push the payload with the help of a Tracer, both getting shut down fairly easily with a Reinhardt and Zenyatta on the payload. So we see this Hanzo actually getting damage boosted by Mercy. Doing a great job so far, getting a lot of kills for the team, zoning out with that dragon earlier in the game. It's important to see the time for these matches, because it's important to cap as fast as you can on each checkpoint, not only trying to finish the game, but actually getting the fastest time possible. In an event of a tie where both teams actually ended on the same checkpoint, the times in which they were capped will be taken into consideration for the win. So, because there will be no ties in this tournament, so trying to cap fast and trying to win the game, that'll be an interesting balance to go through for Flat Earth, as they are not going so well. They actually now cap the first point at 1 minute 44, looks like, while the time getting added by 2 minutes. Now they're off to their second checkpoint, actually losing a lot of time trying to get to the first checkpoint. Now we see this Genji actually getting hit by the Symmetra's turret. Those Symmetra turrets actually do a lot of damage if you don't hit them or get out of sight. Now we see this Genji popping his ult, trying to kill that Reinhardt, actually killing the Reinhardt, but actually dying before his ult ends. Now we see a Tracer dying yet again with full blink charges to a Hanzo. Not having a Mercy or a tank seems to be pulling down this offensive team without the res, without that shield to push the team ahead. seems a bit too hard relying on those Genjis and offensive characters to push, where Widowmaker's not actually a really good offensive hero to pick. If you're behind, if you're ahead, do whatever you want, but if you're behind, you might want to pick a tank or better offensive characters. And we see Hanzo actually dying and actually gets res and takes out that Widowmaker. And we see the offensive team actually losing 4 characters now. It'll be hard for them to actually push now. They actually have to wait for all their teammates to revive for their next push. And we see Symmetra shielding as many of her teammates as she can before the push. Now, Symmetra's shield actually gives 50 extra HP to the character until they get damaged and loses that HP. So this is their next push. They're actually now bundling through one entrance. Doesn't seem to be a good idea. In my opinion, they should be flanking, but these are pro players, so they know better than me. And now we see Widowmaker trying to take out that Hanzo, now actually dying to that Hanzo. So this Hanzo actually doing a lot of damage with that damage boost from the Mercy, now actually taking out Hanzo too. Wow, this Mendo, I mean this Pluppy Hanzo is doing a lot of work. Now we see Symmetra actually sitting back, trying to shield all her teammates after getting revived at the spawn point. She actually does not have her teleporter up yet. It'll be sorely missed for that forward spawn point that the teleport provides. Now we see the Symmetra actually dying, and actually 3 players actually dying, with none dying on the defensive team. So we saw Mendo actually killing a lot with that ult. I think we didn't actually get to see that now, but now we see the offensive team opting to choose a Reinhardt. But with 30 seconds to go, they'll be really hard pressed to actually push anything right now, since the payload's actually right outside of checkpoint 1, so far away from actually reaching checkpoint 2. They gotta be godlike to actually push with overtime only to the next checkpoint. I mean, they could do it, but with the defense so far from IDDQD, it seems a bit too far-fetched. And we see actually Reinhardt dying even with that Zenyatta ult up. And now we see the overtime ticking down and the loss by Flat Earth in this round with a great defense by IDDQD. The time to beat was in fact 1 minute and 44 seconds. So IDDQD is in a good spot to actually win this map or this game, having to only cap the checkpoint below 1 minute and 44 seconds, and they win. They don't actually need to cap any other checkpoints or actually win the map. They need to just cap as fast as they can. So it'll be interesting to see what comp they choose here and what comp Flat Earth chooses to actually stop them. Will they opt for another no tank or no conventional tank, to be precise, comp, or would they opt to go a bit more standard? So we see match, the second round coming in 3 seconds. All right. Now bringing you round 2 on Match Point Gibraltar, where IDDQD will be on the offensive right now against Flat Earth, having their offensive comp actually questioned because of not having a tank. But IDDQD actually did not change their comp at all, I think, on the first round. Now we see the comp by Flat Earth: defense of Reinhardt, a Widowmaker, Symmetra, Genji, Soldier, and Zenyatta, where the difference between Flat Earth's defense and IDDQD's defense is a Widowmaker and Genji instead of a McCree and Hanzo. It'll be interesting to see what a lack of Hanzo can do to a defensive team. And we're not actually seeing a Mercy either. So this team's opting to not get Mercy at all on this map. So it will be interesting to see how their comp goes against the offensive comp of a Zenyatta, a Symmetra, two Genjis, a Reinhardt, and another Zenyatta. So they're opting to get the same comp except getting a conventional tank in Reinhardt instead of that D.Va at the start there. So we'll see hopefully a better offensive take on this map. But yet again, IDDQD only needs to cap in under 1 minute and 44 seconds to actually take this whole map. And here we go. Let's see what Flat Earth can do to stop IDDQD for at least 1 minute and 44. Now, let's see. So far, both teams only posturing. We only see a Symmetra trying to get some pickoffs with her charge shot, but that charge shot is really easy to avoid, so not getting any luck. That Symmetra turret by the defensive team doing some work now. But actually, we see Dracius playing Reinhardt, jumping on the payload. Probably not the best choice right now, and he actually gets taken out immediately, letting NBR stand on the payload, pushing it to the first checkpoint relatively fast compared to the other game. And we see NBR missing his charge, trying to pick off this Hanzo. Hanzo is really hard to pick off with that, since he has that double jump. Easy to get away out of that charge. Now we see a Zenyatta trying to push, trying to stop the push, but everything seems to be dying. And there we have it. We see the GGs by the players, since IDDQD did cap that first checkpoint in under 1 minute and 44 seconds. So IDDQD seems to be taking the game 1 on Watchpoint Gibraltar. Possible best of 5 game. Game 1 goes to IDDQD. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Join me in game 2 between IDDQD and Flat Earth.